Not only is Pro League back this weekend, we've also got some games already started for the APAC South, APAC North region, and then also we've got Challenger Circuit going on for these regions as well. And how is North America stacking up? What's the storylines thus far? Well, we've got some things to discuss. Firstly, we had someone in Challenger Circuit get banned already, and this is a weird rule that they allowed. Matter of fact, we've heard and seen a lot of drama coming from these refs so far. So firstly, you had someone, Catalyst 4274, who was removed and got banned in Challenger Circuit, and for whatever reason the refs allowed that team to bring in their substitute. Many people thought this entire team should have been disqualified, but I saw Talus had actually put this out. So this is just kind of one of those things where you're watching not only just teams like, hey, report this. These are pro players. These are players of a pretty high caliber like Talus, people that have been around for quite some time. They really have some respect in the scene that are reporting this, and the fact that nothing really is getting done about it, or I guess it's not being severely punished, it's a weird one. Even the comments said they definitely should have fully been banned. But on top of that, you had some unfortunate scares coming from Shinny. Of course, he's no longer a part of that Weave Pro League roster, and so he had to play in Challenger Circuit. Well, apparently he thought he was going to get screwed over because his teammates were late to dropping him by 52 minutes. Didn't know if he was going to be able to play. Thankfully, he did get to play. But overall, we've got a lot to dive into with the Challenger Circuit. So firstly, some of the upsets that we saw in round 3. Of course, these games are going to go on more today, but you had the boys with Forelli Boy. A lot of history there. These guys were not able to go into round 4 or the quarterfinals. Then you also had Mav, Pandxrz, and Panic. I really thought this roster had it going on. Mav is an experienced player. Panic's been on the come up for quite some time, and Pandxrz has obviously been a very well-known pro for quite some time, and for them to not get it, it was an unfortunate thing, and I definitely expected them to. So really weird that happened. And then on the flip side, on the good side of all of this, the Meat Lovers in second place. I don't think anybody was surprised to see this, but we do have some conversations to have about the Meat Lovers. So matter of fact, it seems like people are catching on to the whole alter crypto meta that TeQ is trying to implement here, and a way to counter it as well. And I've never seen this since season 3, so I'm really shocked that there isn't a way around this. But according to Fallen, they have found a way to counter the TeQ crypto alter play, and the way by doing this is similar to what you used to see. Similarly to season 3, what you would used to see is when people would start bringing up the crypto EMP, they would drop their shield. Once the EMP goes off, they pick their shield back up, and then there's no damage to the shield at all. Well, they actually patched that and started damaging the shield that was on the ground so that you couldn't use that anymore. Well, since they've switched over from shields to shield cores, seems like that kind of is back into play, and so you can actually counter this by simply dropping your shield. You see he drops his Evo cores here, so he has no shield, and whenever he drops them on the ground, the EMP goes off, you just grab it right back, and no one's dealt any damage. And so he was able to just combat this move that TeQ has been doing and kind of been known for quite some time. Now, sounds like he died right after the fact, so I guess it wasn't that big of a deal, but he was able to stop the push and stop the play, and also get some KP as well. Also, TeQ had some things to say about Challenger Circuit. This has been an ongoing conversation, and it's an unfortunate one because you do look at teams like this and you see Mav and them going out early, not something you would expect. Pandxrz, right, former Pro League player, former guy who's played at LAN multiple times, getting, just think about this for a second. Imagine how not only losing Challenger Circuit, but getting round 3'd. It just would seem very, very odd. And I'm not saying that Pandxrz is on that Imperial Howl level, but he is a pro. He's been around for a while. I would not expect Pandxrz to get round 3. Didn't even make it to quarters. That's just crazy. So what's the solution to this? Is it just because they didn't play good? Well, sure, partially, but I think TeQ makes a fair point. We've been arguing this for quite some time. Every round of Challenger Circuit needs to be 6 games. 4 games is tough. Not sure how we could get that though, because it's a lot of games to be played throughout the day. I mean, I told someone earlier, the reason I don't really like playing in CC is because it is an all-day event for something that goes so slow, and you don't even really get that many games done. I mean, you're starting at 1, you're finishing at 9, and it just seems like it takes forever to get the lobby started. In between games, there's issues, and it's just man, it just doesn't go smoothly at all. And so I don't really know how they would do this. Maybe you should start doing top 5 teams instead of top 10 teams to progress into the next round, so that you can play more in a day and get further along in the bracket. Or instead of doing Sunday, Saturday, and Friday, the 3-day thing just doesn't, it's just too much for me, in my opinion. But he says it doesn't seem like the ALGS wants to go in that direction, unfortunately, but I think a lot of people are complaining that it needs to go to that as well. Not only do you have North America playing Group B versus Group C today, you also have the EMEA scene playing their Group B versus Group C today, but we've also had, at the time of recording this video, APAC South, APAC North have already begun their games. So currently, at the time of recording, the way that these are looking, firstly, we'll start off with the APAC South region. Bear Claw Gaming in first after one game, so a lot more games to be played. Last time we did this, Legends of Gaming were in like dead last. Things were not going good for them at all. They turned things back around to end up like winning the night. So I'm not going to sit here and say that this has any indication of what you're going to see for the rest of the day. Legends has been on fire. They've been looking great. So hopefully tomorrow you're seeing like another Legends top 3, because this would be back-to-back times we've seen them struggle in game number 1 and then bounce things back after the fact. So Serenity keep going, Bear Claw in the top 3. Obviously, this is going to change as the night progresses. Then for APAC North, they're actually already complete with theirs. GHS Professional was able to take the win. Reject Winity in second. No surprise there. These guys have been playing pretty lights out. I've told you guys I've been a fan of One Tappy for quite some time. Really good player. And 11 assists. I mean, this guy's really helping his team out a lot here. Also, the least amount of kills, but he's definitely participating. And I think this entire team is one of those rosters, once again, that kind of believe in each other. They know that they all have got that they've got that experience, they've got that history. It's been all about Fnatic, it's been all about Reject, it's been all about Riddle, maybe even former Pulverex, and some might even say Kinetrup and Northeption, but no one's been talking about GHS, at least on a level that they deserve. And I feel like in the last couple of weeks we're seeing more of this team. So we'll see how they can keep this up and whether or not it's actually going to stay. Northeption obviously not holding up that expectation for this one. Yuka Predator, I think we always think that Yuka Predator and Tadia are just going to be in the top for APAC North, but not everybody has the best of days every single time. Kinetrup in 10th, also Riddle Order in the top 5, and then of course we made mention of Reject and GHS. Of course, Fnatic was not playing on the night, and for multiple reasons, because they're actually on a different schedule than us, so you'll know they're playing Group A versus C. North America and EMEA are playing Group B versus C, so I think they're actually an entire game ahead of us, which is a little weird. I guess it's because of the time zone difference. But as of now, as it stands, New Jay is in first, Fnatic is in second, but you'll notice Fnatic has one less game played and only behind 3 points. So it's very likely Fnatic will still be the top team after all of this is said and done. But overall, pretty good. I don't think any team is really like underperforming very, very bad inside of the APAC North region overall. Like, I think Northeption is the lowest one at number 9, and you still got all these big heavy hitters up top as well. Then APAC South, pretty similar situation. Legends Gaming dominated as we kind of expected. And then here on the bottom, though, I mean, maybe Virtus Pro only at 24th is not what you would expect to see. Dreamfire, another one, but don't forget, this is not the Roe Dreamfire. It's a different team. So I would say Boogie Borders, I think, are going to continue to go up. Virtus Pro has to go up at this point. And then as we progress into the EMEA scene, I'm really expecting Alliance to continue their trajectory. Obviously, only one game played. They've got a long way to go. 07, also only one game played. We talked about how that was a very bad performance that they had, probably one of the worst in history. I think both of these teams will continue to progress upwards as well. And then for North America, of course, Falcons has been dominating for quite some time. You're going to finally see them more than likely surpassed, being that they're not going to be playing today. But of course, it'll just be a short-lived, number 1 spot for someone else. But I think Tripods are really surprising me right now. And Weave, man, it's just crazy to me that Weave is looking to make a change after possibly exceeding expectations quite a bit. Tripods and also Weave have both exceeded expectations a lot for me. And then also on the flip side, on the bottom, I think a team that we're all kind of disappointed in right now is Elevate. Of course, Disguise has one less game to be played, so yeah, they're probably not holding up to expectation as well. But you could also argue that Elevate has played 2, and they are still behind most all these other teams that have only played 1 game. So it's an unfortunate situation. As of the latest scrims, literally just 2 days ago, it was not Moist, it was Complexity, it was Oblivion in the top 3. Vanity and Cloud9, Stallions, Furia, EC, Temper, NGNL, TSM, Flat, Edgers, Empire, Skidmark, LG, Alienware or Liquid, Falcons in 18th, Native in 19th, and Board in 20th. Of course, this is not your traditional Falcons. My boy Imperial How has been quite wasted over on the timeline if you haven't seen with Fallout, which we'll talk more about in just a second. Then Oversight also put out the second block of scrims that took place on that day. Luminosity, TSM, Liquid in the top 3. Team Falcons up there. Furia, Oblivion, Skidmark, NRG, Elevate, and Weave. And then Not Moist, Yup, Complexity, Empire, NGNL, Edgers, SSG, EC, Oxygen, and Cloud9. So overall, it seems like the power rankings, according to kpoll.net, are going in the favor of Team Falcons. And I think everyone possibly agrees with this. The second place right now, also, I think probably most people will agree with this, and that is Fnatic. Obviously, your number 1 APAC North team right now. Then Space Station in third. Now, I've seen a lot of people switch these out, Space Station in second, and I think a lot of that just has to do with North American bias. But I do think, personally, in my opinion, Fnatic is the number 2 team right now. How can you not, considering Reject Winity just won LAN? They didn't just sneak by on match point and win LAN. They were looking really good all finals long. So APAC North is a legitimate region. You cannot have this North American bias like we once had, because they are not dominating like they used to be. Are they still probably doing better than every other region? Sure. But I do think these other regions are catching up. Fnatic, it most definitely is in that top 3. Space Station, I do think, is a well-deserved number 3. Legends Gaming, I mean, I love the list. I think Legends is the number 4 team right now. After that, I think it does get a little bit flexible. You can interchange some of these teams right here. I don't really know if I agree with the 5th place, honestly, all the way down to a lot of these. I mean, there are just so many other teams. It's hard to really acknowledge who's number 5, who's number whatever. But I do think they got the top 4 spot on, absolutely dead correct. Interested to see if you guys agree with that one. So if you guys have not seen the meet and greet that these guys did, this was Snipe Down, Peeps, and Hal, and Fallout. These guys had actually quite a bit of people show up in Chicago for a little bit of a meet and greet that was unofficial. It was like last minute. It was like a 2 days beforehand. It sold out. I mean, this was a really nice thing to see for the Apex community. But man, they had my boy Hal really screwed up. I mean, just even here, bro's just knocked out. Snipe Down's over here smiling, knowing good and well what he's doing. He's just completely knocking out the competition, get everybody just out of their mind, and he's just going to work his way up from the trenches here. So I love the idea overall, man. It looks like these guys had a good time. Very interested to see these players get back into business as well. Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section below. Of course, like and subscribe if you want to stay up to date with all things inside of the world of Apex Legends esports news. And until the next time, we'll see you all later, Gators.